That would be kind of us.
Oh, shoot.
This meeting is recorded.
Okay, it is now 6:30, so I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Selectors.
Second.
For July 7th.
Wait a second, it's echoing, it's playing.
Why is it doing that?
Is your speaker on your computer, Mary? Because
I don't know, because I wasn't the last person to use this.
check your volume button on the bottom and see if that's on, because sometimes if they're too close together, we'll get that reverb.
Yeah, the volume's just at.
Not that I'm tech savvy, but I know that.
Well, I'm not hearing
Well,
now,
Okay,
so maybe that's all.
but I'm not seeing the pictures though either, so I was not the last person to use this.
You just poke on that, you should be cool, right?
Here? No, it's not working. No,
You go, some places shows gallery.
I know, and that's what I'm looking for, but I'm not seeing the gallery, meeting questions, meeting summary.
I'm here, more
It was up before.
captions, breakout rooms, whiteboard.
No, nothing. Questions, oh, gallery. There's
Okay.
gallery.
Yeah.
That's as much as I've got, sorry.
Okay, can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yep.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay,
So wait, I have a question. Normally Mary would see the bar across the top that has the video, or, it has like the.
I know, and that's what I'm looking for, Barbara.
Okay,
well, if people looking,
and is it being recorded?
it is being,
It is being recorded.
yeah,
Okay.
okay, we have. Michael Smith is not able to be here tonight, but we have 4 select persons. Melanie just had to step out to take the call, so we do have a quorum, so we are ready to go. At this point, is there anyone, is when we take public comment, if there's something you'd like to bring to the attention of the board that is not on the agenda and not being discussed tonight, but you feel we should know about it, you would let us know. In general, we do not act on at the meeting unless it's coming up a little later on in the session. But
I don't see it.
we can research and bring it back to another meeting. Is there anyone that has any public comment tonight? Kristen?
Kristen McDowell, Parks and Recreation. I just want to thank the business group and the volunteers who participated this weekend in the 4th of July festivities to make that happen for the community.
Right.
So I just want to publicly thank them for helping with that.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend and a lot of work that went into it, and it was really nice to have the craft fair that coordinated with everyone for activities. So thank you for taking care of that as well.
Absolutely.
Anything else? Okay, So we'll start with the reviewing of the minutes for. Now let's see. The minute for June 16th. So. Are there any? Can I have a motion to approve the minute from June 16th?
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion?
Yes, I have some changes. On page 1, under election of select board chair, it says select person Michael Smith nominated Carol Johnson was seconded by select person Carol Johnson. I actually was the one who seconded it.
Oh,
So it
okay.
wasn't Carol Johnson who seconded the nomination.
Oh, okay.
And then for the election of the select board chair, it was Michael Smith who did the second. I nominated and Michael Smith seconded.
Okay.
And under public comment, rather than just refer to someone as Mary, even though we all know who Mary is. I think it's good, especially the first time that someone's mentioned in minutes, to say
Right.
interim town manager Mary Bogle, who was the title. And then under Memorial Day recognition, the board recognized the Public Historical Society for, it says assisting with, Carol actually said stepping in. So I think we ought to say organizing, because they really took on the organizing
Right.
of that event rather than assisting. It was really their event.
Okay.
And then one last little thing at the top of page 3, in the first sentence, Melanie Jewel with an A, not a second E, and yet A-N-I.
Which one are you under,
Because that's
Barbara,
what
for
I
that?
did before.
Is it the June 16 minutes?
Okay.
Right? Yeah, June 16th.
Okay. Anything
And
else?
that's all I have.
That's all you have. Anyone else have any corrections?
Yeah, under executive session. There's the notation when going into executive session, but no notation of what the. MRSA is, and also nothing where we re-entered regular session. Or if any action was taken.
Yeah, that's because I think this was done from the
Recording.
Recording. So this is on what date? On June 16th?
June
Are those
16th.
minutes that you have?
No, I had the
May 26th.
May 26th, but we'd already approved them, but I realized that they were.
There was an
complete.
error.
Yeah,
There was an error.
But it's
Yeah.
been approved, but it just needs to be
Yeah.
updated.
So it should be MRSA.
But we don't have the time.
We don't
and
have-
Well, we can, I'm
We'll
sure
have to-
that between us, we have.
7:57 PM, so.
Yes.
Okay. So do we have a vote to approve them as corrected?
We'll make that motion.
All in favor? All opposed, so four in favor and 1 absent. And then we have 2 sets of minutes for executive session that were on the table here.
Yep, they're on the table.
I will apologize, 'cause I keep trying to send the June 24th ones, they keep getting picked up. But the first one is to approve the minutes for the executive session for June 22nd. I have a motion for that.
So moved.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? So 4 in favor. 1 absent. And then the next set of minutes is for the executive session on on Monday, June 29th.
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? So 4 in favor, 1 absent. So we are missing the June 24th, which we will
Mhm.
have at the next meeting. And we need to finish up the May
26th.
26th, and we need to get the remaining information on the June 16th executive session. I
I would like to make a motion that we change the order of the upcoming items, and that we move the presentation by our auditors and Connors up to this point, and let her begin her presentation as other things. Wait for a couple of other things.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Okay. Since you have the longest commute home.
I do appreciate that.
To that, to South Portland, is it?
Oh, no, I'm in from Brunswick.
Oh, from Brunswick, okay.
It's not
Well,
too
then,
bad.
then we're gonna keep you.
Kristen?
Cheryl, Jillian, sorry, but Jillian knows that she's waiting to get the meeting, but she needs to be accepted.
Utter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Jennifer?
You're on it, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm here to talk about the results of the 2025 audit. I did put together a presentation, which I believe you have a copy of.
Yeah.
Okay, great. It was just a brief overview of the financial statements and the audit itself. So what I will do is go through the graphs, and then if you have any questions or comments, feel free to jump in and. So the first graph is the summary of the audit results. This is just a kind of an overview of where we landed at the end of the audit. So the financial statements themselves did receive an unmodified opinion, which is a good thing. That's a clean opinion on the financial statements. We also issue a report under government auditing standards, and under those standards, we did some testing of internal controls as they relate to financial reporting. So some of the bigger areas that we look at are your cash disbursements procedures, your payroll disbursements procedures, cash receipts, and so on. And under those standards, the town did receive 2 material weaknesses. So there are 3 levels of findings. The material weakness would be the highest level of finding, and that is at the point where you have enough issues that you definitely want to make some changes. A step down from that would be a significant deficiency, which would not necessarily be something systemic, but definitely something to bring to your attention. The town also did receive 3 significant deficiencies. And then we did also have a couple of other recommendations. Those are just not really serious things, but we just bring them to your attention so that you can possibly make changes going forward. If you'd like, I can go over these now, or I can wait until after we go through the graphs. You have a preference?
I think we might as well just go through them as they are.
Okay, yeah, I brought it up, so.
Since you started the conversation.
I did, yes. So the first material weakness had to do with payroll reconciliations. This is actually the second year that we've had this comment. When we did the audit, there were a lot of issues with payroll related expenditures and payroll liabilities. Payroll liabilities, to get into the accounting side of it, would typically have a credit balance because they're liabilities. There were some liabilities that actually had debit balances, so the balances were the opposite of what they should have been. In addition, there were some large and unusual balances. Some of the issues that we found, the accounting software was actually set up so that it would hit some of those liabilities once a month. But if there was more than one payroll paid in that month, at the end of the month, then it was hitting that liability twice automatically when it shouldn't have been. So that one was actually an easy fix. But it was one of those things where because the liabilities weren't reconciled, it wasn't caught until we came in and started looking at them. There was also an issue with the payments for the Paid Family Medical Leave Act, where the amounts were paid, but the payments never offset the liability. So there was a very large liability showing that you owed the state when you didn't actually owe them that money. There were also some payroll entries that should have been done, payrolls that were posted back in 2024, but then were also posted in 2025 and they were actually paid. So they should have been reversed. So all of that combined, because of the significant dollar amount and the number of entries that we had to do, we did bump that up to a material weakness.
Of course, with all of these comments, there are management responses and how the town is addressing these. So I have talked to Mary and I've talked to Penny about how they're addressing this going forward, so hopefully this won't be an issue. The other material weakness was for material audit adjustments. We do typically have audit adjustments. But because of the large dollar amount and the number of entries that we had, again, we did add up to a material weakness. We actually had a total of 36 adjusting journal entries. One of the biggest causes for that was the accounting software itself. When you start a new fiscal year, the beginning balances don't automatically adjust for any audit adjustments. So you have to go in and adjust all of your beginning balances. So when we came in and started the 2025 audit, a lot of the beginning balances had to be adjusted to the correct balances. Which if your beginning balances don't agree, then your ending balances aren't going to be correct.
So those were adjustments for the year 2024 were not properly adjusted. Am I correct?
Correct, because we had adjusting entries in 2024, the impact of those carried forward to 2025. And so those had to be adjusted.
Mhm.
A lot of that had to do with the fact that there was turnover in the treasurer position when we were here in 2024, and when those balances rolled forward, there was no treasurer. So it fell through the cracks. And again, that's one of those things that will be addressed going forward. Then the significant deficiencies, the significant deficiencies that we had. One was segregation of duties. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that concept, segregation of duties are when you take a process or procedure and you break it down so that different employees are doing different parts of that procedure or process. The main issue is because you have a small staff, you typically have the same people performing multiple functions. So not to pick on Penny, but she's she, is doing the journal entries and she's doing the bank reconciliations and she's preparing the warrants. And so she's doing a lot of different functions that in an ideal world, other employees would be performing some of that. The idea being that if you have more than one person involved, then you have someone looking over your shoulder and better controls over the procedure. Yeah.
And previously, that wasn't the frequency.
I've had that comment in the past.
So, hold on a second, what is this?
Cancellation, we have this one call on this number 1-80843-0815. Cancellation should be done within the 48 hours.
How do I mute them all?
Thank you. And messages.
Where's the name Steve right now?
It's Steve,
And
that's,
then do you see the mute?
yes, yep, got it, right here. Yep,
Saying they can't see anybody talking too.
You can let them in to talk, but.
And then if you hit video there, they'll be able to see us.
excuse me?
If you hit video in the bottom left, I think they'll be able to see us. That should.
Right, we're gonna have you hang.
I
out.
know.
We need to, like, use.
I am not,
technology.
I am not a Zoom person.
Yeah, so you can go back out here. Sorry.
I'm just wondering if we can, we should ask questions during this discussion of what individual items are you're talking about, or do you want us to wait until the end of your talk before we ask any questions?
I think we should go through it and then hold your questions to the end.
To go back to your question, we did have this comment last year in 2024. I believe it was a significant deficiency then as well. Simply because you didn't have a treasurer in place, so that bumped up the risk a little bit more, because you had your town manager at the time performing some of those duties, and then it really wasn't, anyone who was overlooking what she was doing, so.
Right.
Not to accuse her of anything, but it's just saying that it does increase the risk when you have fewer people involved.
Right.
And I will tell you that a lot of towns do get that comment. It is hard to have ideal segregation of duties, just because, like I said, you do have a small staff. And hiring the number of people that you would need to get ideal segregation of duties would not be, the cost benefit probably wouldn't be there, so it's one of those things you kind of have to weigh.
If you took the reconciliation of that out and had it done by another party, would that make a huge difference or not?
It would make a difference, we might be able to downgrade it from a significant deficiency to another comment.
Okay.
If
I'm
we were
just
able to-
thinking of what would be an easy easier
Yeah.
piece to fix.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something I can talk to Mary and Pay about as well. If you were to have some of your current employees who are in this office doing some of those duties, then you would kind of have to cross-train. And then you might be taking people away from the front desk,
Right,
so I
yeah.
don't know how that would work, but it's something we can talk about.
Discuss.
The next significant deficiency we had to do with bank reconciliations. This is a comment that we had last year. There were ongoing issues with the bank reconciliations. Part of that had to do with the way that the outstanding items were rolling forward from month to month. For the outstanding checks, the way the number was calculated was to take prior month's outstanding checks, add to it any checks that had been issued, and then backing out any checks that had cleared. And then that should leave you with your ending number of outstanding checks, which in theory it works, but only if the prior month is correct. So if it's not correct, then you basically have rolling issues from month to month to month. Yeah, unfortunately, these were issues that we saw in 2024. And then, of course, when Penny came in partway through the year, she picked up the reconciliations, the way that they were being done, and there were already existing issues with those. So it kind of compounded over the months. We did have quite a few adjusting entries that we did have to do to cash. So that's why we bumped that up to a significant deficiency.
And what are sweep account balances? I'm not familiar with what, so in the management's response, sweep account balances would be added to the bank reconciliation.
They're not even there.
Which, I'm sorry, I'm not sure where.
Not there.
Under bank reconciliations,
Oh.
management response.
It's not on your slide, it's on here. From the
Oh, yeah.
It's from the audit itself.
Oh,
So she's reading from the audit. Do you want a copy of the audit, Jen?
No, I'm looking at it. and I
Oh, you
think
are?
we're-
Okay.
we're-
Oh, it's on, it's what you're talking about in terms of the findings required to be reported in material weaknesses and significant deficiencies. On page 5, it just says management's response in addition, sweep account balances will be added. The bank reconciliation, so I just didn't know that sweep account balances.
Well, the
Missing
sweep
something?
accounts are these, they're basically sub accounts that back up the checking accounts.
I think
Wait,
it's June 22nd, I think is when it was sent to us.
So that was sent to the
Sort of
board.
the extra backup piece.
Those are backup pieces that went to the select board only.
Because
Okay.
I didn't. put them
No,
out
that
in.
it wasn't in the books because I'm not sure that we were going over
Well,
that,
okay.
those details.
Okay.
So,
So I'm gonna put my phone on so that I can check in on that stuff, just so I can follow that, because I didn't print mine out for that.
I think it's June 22nd, if anyone for the board that we got it. So that is your question, Barbara?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay. Oh, we have one more significant deficiency, which had to do with credit card transactions. We actually selected a sample of 60 credit card transactions, and of those transactions, 11 were missing supporting invoices or receipts. In addition, we did notice that the town doesn't require approval of individual credit card transactions by department heads. Typically, the feeling is that as long as it's within the budget, then it's allowable, so they're not really reviewing those individual transactions.
Right.
The town does have a policy that employees are supposed to be submitting invoices or receipts for their credit card transactions. So our recommendation was that, the town basically reinforce that. And if employees can't, find the invoice or the receipt to submit, they should at least be filling out a form saying what the charge was for, the business purpose for it. And basically stating that they lost the receipt, because we know it does happen.
Right.
It was just, the number of receipts that were missing, out of the sample that we took, so it wasn't a great ratio.
Is that something we should have a form made?
We have a form.
We do have a form already, so everybody knows that they're supposed to be compliant to
And we
the
used
use
to
of the
have a
credit
receipt.
cards.
If we didn't get the receipts and if it wasn't being signed off on, then your ability to have a town credit card was suspended for a time.
Yeah. So it needs to be reinforced again.
Okay.
And then, as I mentioned, we did have some other comments, which I said, those are just minor recommendations we had. One had to do with cash receipts. We did select 60 cash receipts to test, and, we pulled the supporting documentation, which had the courier slips, the auditor's reports, and then the bank slips. There were some instances in which the audit report actually differed from the courier slip. The largest difference was $658. There were also several instances in which the bank deposit slip was missing from the records. We were able to mitigate some of that by actually tracing the deposits directly to the bank statements, so we could at least see that the deposit actually agreed with your internal records. So that was just a recommendation that all of that documentation is retained. I'm not sure what happened to the bank deposit slips. But they should be retained and attached to the documentation. As well as should be double checking to make sure that the amounts that are deposited agree with the deposits that were given to the courier. I'm not entirely sure why there were differences there. We also had a comment about payroll withholdings. While we were testing payroll amounts, we noticed that some of the employees had the incorrect employer portion recognized. This error was detected later and was corrected. But out of the sample that we selected, they were incorrect. Also, the town did not have any support for certain stipends and back pay for employees. So we recommend that when you have those circumstances, that you should have some kind of documentation in place for those. And then the last comment we had was internal documentation, internal control documentation and procedures. So when we do our audit, we have several narratives or write-ups for each of these areas that kind of are our understanding of your procedures, and that we use those to basically test internal controls. When we were in the process of performing the tests, there were some inconsistencies between what we had written up and some of our procedures. We said, no, we don't do that anymore, and then someone would say, no, this is how it's done. So our recommendation is just to go through those narratives and kind of get the procedures down, and then make sure that all the employees are on board with those procedures.
Right.
That was it for the comments. I can go through the numbers themselves unless you have any other questions about those comments.
Are there any other questions on this part of it? Maybe we can address that now and then. If anyone has any questions?
I know there was a lot to go through.
Yeah. Kathy?
So when you take a look at payroll and audit, do you sometimes cross-check actual annual wages versus the payroll checks that are being cut to assure there isn't something input in the payroll system that doesn't match that? Is that part of your audit usually?
Yes, when we test payroll, we typically select the number of employees and then we look at their wage rate or salary to make sure that the amount that they're getting paid is the amount that was actually announced.
On the question on the bank reconciliations.
Sure.
Was the timing of the bank reconciliations outside the scope? That if something was uncovered, that the bank would basically say you haven't gotten back to us in a timely manner, so we cannot recover the funds.
That I'm not sure. I don't really know what the time frame is that you would have to notify the bank if there was an error.
It's usually 60 to 90 days. And
Probably.
And the other question is, you know, I used to basically be responsible for a lot of these areas before I retired. And we also had on our bank statements or our bank accounts, we were constantly getting hit by essentially attempted fraudulent activity. And is basically the town well protected against that kind of activity? Do they do a payroll fee and so that only the payroll checks that are issued clear, that type of thing?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't believe so. Even though.
I do not know either, so.
They set up so that.
Right.
So we have positive pay, so yeah, so we have to,
Specifically about.
Payroll, we mostly do direct deposit, so we don't
Right.
have any other, occasional checks.
Okay.
I just have one comment. My understanding on the credit card transactions for the town is that they're direct bill to the town. Any business I ever worked with that attempted to do direct billing back to the business canceled it in a hurry. And basically, required the employee to file an expense report to get reimbursed, which made a quick end to the fact that nobody was submitting receipts.
mhm.
It's an easy fix. And it doesn't cost the employee anything other than making them do the paperwork.
That is certainly an option. Yep.
So you're saying, Tom, that for the credit card used for purchasing things for facilities, the cemetery, the parks and rec department, that would be done by employees on their own personal credit card and then they would get reimbursed rather than on the town card?
They could still get a credit card, but basically they'd have to pay the bill themselves and be reimbursed by the town. It's quite common in the business world. Places like American Express, whatever, have programs that do stuff like that. So you get the credit availability through the credit card company, but at the same time, it puts the burden on the employee to do the paperwork, because I've been in the position of trying to chase people to
Mhm.
do the paperwork, and
Mhm.
it's like I said, any place I've worked, they quickly canceled that option.
Any other questions on this first part of the audit discussion? Okay, let's continue.
Sure, thank you. So if you go back to the graphs on page 3, this is an overview of all of the town's funds. So on the financial statements, there are two significant statements, statement 3 and statement 4, which include all of the funds on the financial statement, all of the funds for the town. So in total, the town had funds that equaled, $8.3 million. However, those funds are broken down into different types of funds, and a lot of those funds are restricted or committed for specific purposes. So even though your total fund balance combined is 8.3 million, the amount that is unrestricted in the general fund is actually only around $3 million. And then I broke this down into the different types of funds. So just, you know, the different kinds of funds that you have some special revenue funds, which special revenue funds are usually restricted by outside sources or committed by vote. Typically, you will see special revenue funds used for grants. The emergency fuel fund is a special revenue fund. Overall, those funds have changed very little from year to year. The permanent funds, those are amounts that have been given to the town for specific purposes. An example would be your cemetery funds. So there's a portion that is non-spendable, it's the principal portion, as well as there is restricted income that is used for specific purposes. Those amounts have actually increased by about $314,000 over the last 3 years. Most of that due to investment increases, donations and interest. Capital reserves, those are the amounts that are committed through vote. And they're used for the acquisition or construction of significant capital assets. For example, your fire department equipment reserve. The reserves have actually increased by $772,000 over the last 3 years. And then finally, you have the general fund, which holds all of your other funds, anything that has not been restricted or committed to one of those other kinds of funds. In total, the general fund has decreased $279,000 over the last 3 years. In total, the funds increased by $817,000 over the past 3 years. And then the next few graphs, we do focus specifically on the general fund. The reason that we focus on the general fund is because it is your largest and the most important fund. It is where all of the town's daily operations are accounted for. The next graph on page 4 is the general fund balance. And we have it shown by the different categories within the general fund. This is over the last 5 fiscal years. So the first category is non-spendable, and that is your portion of the general fund that is not readily available. That is typically made up of inventory, prepaid expenditures, and tax acquired property. Committed fund balance, those are amounts that the voters have specifically set aside, and it would take another vote to uncommit them. In 2024, the town had $181,000 in committed fund balance, and that had to do with amounts that had been approved to be transferred to reserves but had not yet been transferred. Assigned fund balances are amounts that are internally designated for specific purposes. If they're not used for those specific purposes, then they just lapse back to unassigned fund balance. And then unassigned fund balance is basically the category that is left over after you put amounts into all of those other categories. It is that portion of your fund balance that carries forward to be used for any purpose. In total, fund balance has increased 7% from FY 2024. So it increased $193,000. But in total, over the last 5 fiscal years, fund balance has actually decreased 16% or $594,000.
So when we budgeted for the TAM. And didn't use it, that money would be showing in that, that might be part of the 193,000.
Correct, yep.
It was like 140,000 or something, I'm thinking that we.
Yep, any budgeted expenditure that you don't actually spend goes with lapse fund balance.
So that accounts for a large portion of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The next couple of graphs that I have here, excuse me, are a look at the budget to actual information. So the first one we have are the general fund revenues, and looking at some of the larger budget to actual variances. You can see that taxes were higher than budgeted, mostly due to excise taxes that exceeded expectations. Intergovernmental revenues were also higher than budgeted due to the receipt of unbudgeted state revenues, such as pre-growth revenues. Charges for services were higher than budgeted due to an increased demand for building permits and increased demand for recreation programs. Other revenues were higher than budgeted due to unbudgeted and unanticipated revenues, such as a workers' compensation reimbursement and other miscellaneous revenues. Interest revenue was about $85,000 higher than budgeted, as interest rates were better than anticipated. And in total, revenues were $391,000 higher than budgeted, which is about 3% of your budget. So that is part of the reason why your fund balance did increase. I will point out, though, that some of that increase, of course, is offset by transfers to other funds. And then on page 6, we have the same graph. This is for general fund expenditures. So again, looking at the larger budget to actual variances, general government expenditures were lower than budgeted as the town manager retired. There were some savings for salaries and benefits for administration. Public works expenditures were lower than budgeted as less was spent on sand and road treatment materials than anticipated. Unclassified expenditures were lower than budgeted due to overlay. That amount includes overlay, but that is only used for offsetting abatements. Debt service expenditures were lower than budgeted as interest for the tax anticipation note, as you mentioned, was budgeted but was not actually needed. So in total, expenditures were $371,000 under budget, which again was about 3%.
So back in the first one, oh,
Yeah.
when you said we're budget was town manager retired.
Hmm?
I think that's because of the treasurer transition.
Right.
It shouldn't be town manager retiring.
Oh,
She retired at
I'm sorry,
26.
the treasurer, not town manager.
Right. So we
You are
had a
correct.
big period of time when we didn't have a treasurer at a different income
Right.
level.
Right.
So
You are correct.
that should be corrected.
Okay.
Is that your comment?
I
Yeah, that was my
can
comment.
for you if you'd like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you had mentioned in the comments, that we had a transition of several,
Yes,
we had transition periods between separate treasurers, so.
and then on page 7, this is an overview of the unassigned fund balance as a percentage of budget. This is a ratio that is often used to gauge the healthiness of your unassigned fund balance. And this is over the last 5 fiscal years. So you can see over the last 5 years, you started out at 34% of the budget. And then it dropped down to its lowest point in 2024, which was close to 17%. And then in 2025, it went back up to 21%. Now, there's been a lot of discussion as far as what that number means. The GFOA, which is the Governmental Financial Officers Association, does recommend that you keep on hand about 2 months worth of budget. So that would be about 16%. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of judgment. A lot of towns use different percentages as a target. I've seen as low as 8%. I've seen as high, and I've seen as high as 24%. So somewhere in between is probably the number that you want to shoot for. And it really depends on what you're comfortable keeping as a buffer.
I think we pretty much used 3 months.
Yeah, we tried to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we're close right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the 29.9.
What's our monthly? $1 million. one or something.
$1,000,003 is,
Yeah, yeah.
it's $1,000,003,
$1,000,003.
$1,000,003,
3.9 and we're at 2.
299,
Yeah,
yep,
so we're.
Yeah.
We're below what we.
Yeah.
Said traditionally we're comfortable with,
Right, okay.
so. We'll look at.
And that's gonna vary from year to year too, because it also depends on what your goals are, if you want to build your fund balance. Or if you have significant projects that are coming up, so you need to fund your reserves, so there's always that decision where you have to weigh those priorities.
Well, we had on one of them where we had a. Significant excise tax due to one company purchasing another and registering vehicles
Oh.
here and so on, so that helped. That was an unexpected revenue source that
Mhm.
right.
may or may not continue depending on, so. I know that's one of them, we never anticipated.
We don't know,
And we
it's an
don't know.
unknown,
So
it's an unknown, yeah.
cost. Yep. Kathy?
So when you're talking about recommended reserves, I know this school carries its own reserve. Which, and our schools had a reserve. With the recommended state level the last couple of years. When you're recommending a town reserve of 16% for 2 months, are you recommending, does that include also reserving for the school portion? Or just reserving against what the town itself spends for its funds?
That would just be for the town.
So 16% of the town's budget.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, where the RSU is a separate legal entity, they have its own set of financial statements, its own reserves, its own targets. And you're right, they are limited by the state percentages, so they can only carry up to 9% of unassigned. So,
That's great. That's a big clarification. Thank you.
yes, you're welcome.
Ruth?
I guess to put it in, put this in context, though, I mean, I'm not. Part of this is to cover unanticipated expenses, but at the same time, Belgrade has moved from, I think, over 1.5 million in reserves to roughly 3.5 million in reserves in the last 5 years. So I guess my perspective is Belgrade has a reserve for just about everything, except an asteroid strike on town hall here. So in that context, is it really necessary to have unassigned fund balances at these levels? Or is that more for a town that has very little capital reserves?
Well, the reserves are, as I mentioned, committed balances, so the voters have committed those for very specific purposes.
Mhm.
You would have to go back to the voters to uncommit those, so they're not readily available to be used for the town's everyday operations. So really, you do still need a certain level of unassigned fund balances that are going to cover unanticipated expenditures.
Well, yeah, just to clarify, my point is, if you have 100,000 reserved for the transfer station breaking down,
Mhm.
you've just eliminated an unanticipated expense. So I think Belgrade has been very conservative in identifying potential unanticipated or expenses, so that I don't see where an unanticipated expense of this magnitude would occur.
We have 3 million in our unrestricted against a $4 million budget just on the town side. That's just.
Bruce?
So to help Kathy in, I think Kathy's getting a little confused on it.
Mhm.
So that fund balance is also gotta pay the payment to the school
School.
budget monthly.
The debt,
So
it's,
Is that when has the school ever come back to the town and asked for more money? They're carrying a 9% reserve on unexpected things that will happen at the school level. So my question to the accountant was, when you're talking about the 16 to 20% reserve or whatever it is the town wants to handle, are we talking about 16% of the town's $4 million budget without the school in it? And she,
No.
yes.
yeah, okay, I
So
think
did I misunderstand you?
Well. Yeah, so the fund balance itself does not have anything set aside for the school. But the budget that is used to measure that, it does include the amount
Encompass.
that is allocated to the RSA.
Yeah.
So I misunderstood your answer, or you misunderstood.
Well, I think I misunderstood.
When you're talking about the 2 months of expenses that seem to
Of the
be,
total budget, yes.
oh, yeah, I'm talking about in the unrestricted fund.
Mhm.
What you're calling the general fund, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in the unrestricted, with the general fund, are you thinking that 16% is 16% of just what the town spends, so the town's $4 million in expenses, or are you expecting that general fund also to cover a shortfall that might happen at the school, so that we need to reserve on the school's portion of
It's
also?
the entire budget, so it's everything that you budget for expenditures and. We
Including
don't,
the school and the county.
Mhm.
That's my question. Okay.
yes.
I do just misunderstanding that.
Nope, sorry.
Okay.
Tom Dowd again, but just to clarify, the school amount and the county amount are fixed. They won't vary once they're established and once the tax rate is set. So they're not gonna vary. So just a point of clarification.
Okay, anyone have any other questions on the audit?
Oh, I have another question on the audit. Are you finished with your presentation?
Well, I'm talking about what, the presentation here.
That is all I have, yes.
Okay. On page 31, I just wondered, what is interfund loan payable?
So,
I want to know what, on page 31, what interfund loan payable was.
Thank you.
so the town has different funds set up to account for. Different purposes, as I mentioned, they have relevance and some permanent funds. Not all of those funds have their own cash account. So what happens is you basically have pooled cash. Your operating cash holds the cash that actually belongs to those other funds. The interfund receivable or payable is how the town allocates revenues and expenditures to those individual funds without actually paying cash, because we don't have our own cash balance. So, in other words, if you have invoices that you're paying for the capital projects fund, but it doesn't have its own cash, then it basically has a payable to the general. That makes sense. If you get bond proceeds that belong to the capital projects fund, but it's held in the general fund, then it has receivable held in the general fund. I'm glad that makes sense. Sometimes it's kind of a difficult concept, but that's the gist.
And I have one other question.
Sure.
On page 27, when you talk about the $659,000 error that you had to fix. I was unclear whether that's an unfunded liability or something that the town should be reserving for because we pay it when it comes due.
Okay. Yeah, so what that is, last year, the town implemented a new accounting standard, which is GASB 101. And it has to do with, accrued compensated absences. The way that the standard works is the town is now required to estimate a liability for, future vacation and sick time that it will be paying out to its employees. The amount is an estimate. And so it's based on historical usage of sick time, and it's also based on an average wage rate. The restatement is because last year, there was a report that was in hours. Where did it go? It was in. We thought that we thought the report was in days and that it needed to be converted to hours, and so it was multiplied by weeks. When it was actually in hours, so it basically multiplied, it increased the liability significantly. But this liability is one of those things that is future liability that's not necessarily representative of how much you're gonna pay in the next year. It's an estimate. So it's kind of a long-term liability similar to debt.
So. I understand what you're talking about, so the 659,000 had been overestimated in the past and
That's
you should
correct.
reduce it. Because of this hours versus, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
So this is actually adding
659
back to
right.
that position.
Okay, that was my question, 650, okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
it's going in your favor.
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No doubt again, just one more question on, page 3 where it says management has omitted management's discussion and analysis basically. And it says that it's required, but then further down it says that it doesn't alter your opinion that management has to respond to it. I guess I'm a little confused, but it can be a requirement, but
So.
not very different. Basically fulfill the requirement.
Yeah, I understand that does seem confusing, but our audit opinion is actually on the financial statements themselves, which include basic financial statements, the disclosures, and the schedules. There are additional items that are included in the financial statements that are called required supplementary information, and management's discussion and analysis is required supplementary information. So it's not something that we audit directly, but the Government Accounting Standards Board does require that it is included with the financials. So since we are not issuing an opinion on it, we don't modify the opinion on the financial statements. We just basically point out the fact that it is required, it's not included, but it doesn't change our opinion on the financial statements themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Well,
Okay, anything else? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you for taking the time this evening to be with us.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay. So, we'll take it back to unfinished business. We mentioned at the last select board meeting that one of the things we wanted to do was put together. And have a list of the things that we know we want to get accomplished this year. So that we don't get 3, 6, 8 months down the road and not have those items done. So, I think we said we would sort of rack our brains a little and come up with a partial list of one that we will keep working on. And, I know there are some things on there which I did not type up, but I have some to add. So I just wanted to take a few minutes because if we keep pushing it off, they'll never get done. So, let me first give you. I can find it on my phone, I sent it to myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the most important things I think we need to work on, and the budget committee's gonna be working on it at the our next meeting, is a financial policy for the town.
That happens to be on this list.
Okay, so that's kind of top of the priority.
Come on, get up here. One of them is financial policy. One of them is, a remote policy, remote attendance meetings that we sort of struggle with. Now we can do some remote meetings so that we need to look at a remote attendance policy. We have one. Except I think we need to update it so that you can have a situation where someone can't be here. And they can still vote and attend and not be ill and not have it be on vacation. So a lot of towns have come up with a remote policy, so we can look at it, we can decide if we want it. Another one is the employee handbook, which is, I think, almost done. I know Barbara and Mary and Penny have been working diligently on it. One of the suggestions and one of the things available from our attorneys is training for the board and also for the committees on procedures and things that we do. It's part of our scope of business. So Bernstein Shore will do that training for us at no cost or no additional cost to us. So that's something that if we get the committees and the board in to go through those, just to reinforce so that we can make sure that we're all consistent in the way that meetings are being handled and things are being done. Summer residence meeting, I don't think we've scheduled that. We need to get that
I
scheduled.
don't think we did. I think when we had it last year, scheduled this year's date. Do you know, Mary?
I don't recall, but it actually was on my town manager's other business to schedule a date.
Another thing, we had a request from the petition once before about requesting that all items be on a written ballot. And that has been brought up before. We made a commitment when we did the voting in June that we would look at it and educate folks in the town so people could make an informed decision. What would it mean if everything was on the ballot? What would it mean if we kept it the way we are now? So we made that commitment in an open meeting. We need to make sure that we honor that and do it early enough so that we said we would look to do a non-binding ballot in November. The same way we did a non-binding ballot for changing the fiscal year. So that if we said we're gonna do that, we need to honor that commitment. And if we don't have people show up to meetings, that's fine. If we have a lot of people show up, we need to not let that slip past us until all of a sudden it's November. Fire station project, I know the fire department's on top of that, but that's one of those things that is sitting on my list. Financial reporting to the board. So that's part of financial policy. That we figure out what the format should be. And I know budget committee was looking at that. So that's another one in there. And the other one that I have on here is a housing discussion. Housing's an issue. I have some thoughts on how we might work on that, but that we have discussion of how do we deal with housing and the lack of housing in our area, and how do we do it in a responsible way? So that we are proactive and we're not reactive to people coming in with projects in our town. So those are the ones that I have lined out. I don't know if there are others that we have or we can add as we go along, but that we keep that on the radar.
I have one.
What?
Hire a new town manager, which is
That would
in
be
process. That should be, along with financial policy, that should be up at the top of the list.
right, yes.
Just so we can check it off when it's done.
We can check it off when it's done, absolutely. Melanie?
We need to untable the request for professional services for attorneys. I mean, that's been holding on since, is it September, October, I think, when you first brought it up. So we should, once again, all have a copy of the contract, which I tried whenever that board meeting was that I had requested copies for everyone. But everyone should have a copy of the current contract so that we understand the scope of services. But I think that needs to be untabled.
Okay. Anyone else, anything else?
Consistency of board bylaws straight across the board, because different boards have different bylaws.
Right.
And it creates confusion on what's going on,
Boards
and that
boards and committees.
boards and
Boards and
committees,
committees, yeah.
yes.
And I think part of that, some of that may come out of the training with Bernstein Shore, that we make sure this is the way it really should be done, and let's make sure that all of our committees are doing it, so that we're consistent in the way in which we approach it. Yes. Ron?
Little things. Context on the housing, what are we looking for housing?
I'm sorry, help.
For housing, what are we looking at?
Well, I would like to, I mean, this is me personally, this is not the town. But I would like to see, are there ways that we can come up with more reasonably priced homes being built in Belgrade? Instead of all of our homes being 600 and 700 and 800,000 or $1.2 million. I mean, if you're on the lake, you're obviously having that. So are there places where we could build more moderate homes? I'm not talking, Section 8 housing, I'm not talking low income, I'm talking, and if I lived in this town all my life and I get to the point where I want to downsize, there's no place for me to go and stay in Belgrade. I would need to go get a condo in Augusta or Waterville or someplace else. So how do we meet that need of people that want to downsize? And there's nothing available. And do we have places where we could develop it? Do we have rules that are keeping builders from building it? And I don't know the answers to that, but I think it's something that as a town, we need to look at before we get someone that comes in with a great project and away we go.
I was just gonna add to that would become compliancy with the comprehensive plan, because
Right.
the comprehensive plan talks directly about affordable housing, senior housing, those kinds of things that we are looking for the future.
Implementation of the comprehensive plan
Is another piece, and I was gonna add that in,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
got me.
Carol, you got a hand up?
Yeah. Oh, who's, Jillian?
Yes, Carol, I also just wanted to add, I think that's a great idea. I also think that there's going to be grant funding opportunities for development of housing. And if we start thinking about it now, we might be able to take advantage of federal funding to help build out that infrastructure. But if we don't start thinking quickly, those things are going to pass us by. So I think that's a great idea.
The other one is, which we set up 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we put some money aside for looking at, trying to find a way to acquire property in North Belgrade so that section of town has access to water. I think we need to keep that on our radar. And maybe there are grants available that might help there, but that is something that we do have set aside money for. Not enough, I know, but it's
It's a start.
one of our capital projects or
yeah.
whatever. I don't know what
Account.
fund it is, but
Yeah,
that we do that.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything else that they want to? Okay, well, if you'd be thinking about it, and if you come up with things, if you would, let Mary know, or let someone here on the board know, because I really think that we need to be proactive in how we do this and not reactive, and anything we can do to make that happen, I think is positive. So. That's all I have for comments in that.
And I think what we ought to do is look at the list
Right.
periodically. I mean, look at the list, let's have this on the.
well,
for the
and that's
next-
why we have that little whiteboard over there that I need to get hung up, because we used to have a whiteboard in our
We
old
did, yeah.
facility. As our goals got accomplished, we would just wipe those off,
Yeah.
and we would continue on that whiteboard.
And just for setting agenda, making sure
Right.
that, what are we addressing? Are we addressing?
Right. Right.
Okay, all right, enough of it.
But I think also, since we brought it up this time, I think that we ought to revisit the list at the next meeting while this is all fresh in our minds.
Right.
And, sort of think about what's immediate in the next couple of months, what we can look
Short
at in 6
term.
months, what we hope to.
Right.
Here, and do that, not the 3, 5, 10, but to do,
Right,
Right.
yeah.
short, medium, long term for the year.
So we should probably check and see if there's anything else that has been tabled in the last year or so that really
Right.
should be pulled back forward.
Yeah.
And be resolved, yeah, or
The one thing we
addressed.
don't have to put on there is the water district.
oh my gosh, off the table.
How about,
Off the table.
how about newsletter, town newsletter?
Or, communication.
We're still-
newsletter. Yeah.
Still working on that.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a question.
I actually have a comment. I do have in my date a summer residence meeting for Thursday, August 6th. It must have been given to me at some point. I don't know if that's accurate, but I did have it in my rec.
Oh, okay.
So.
We may have,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I couldn't find it on
Well-
the calendar, but I'm pretty sure, because we sort of scrambled to pull one together.
Put it
Yeah.
under rec notes because it was discussed that it's always been done here, but did we want to do it at the Center for All Seasons with the new equipment? So there's a
Oh,
note
okay.
there, but whatever you decide.
And we're open till 7 o'clock, so that won't involve some of the office staff.
Okay,
on Thursday, so maybe we'll want to reconsider that date just to involve and be inclusive of.
okay,
Let's set a date right now, because we're already.
right,
On,
because we only have
July-
one meeting.
July
before that.
7th.
Oh, well, we'll have to,
So-
but, is
so you said Thursday.
Thursday the
I
sixth.
do know that's also the late night for the town office, correct? So.
And it's also a concert. We shouldn't do it on a Thursday night,
Oh, that's
because
right,
then we would conflict with the concert.
That's right.
I mean, we're gonna have some conflicts, but let's not conflict with one
What do you
that.
got per calendar?
Town
So
sponsor.
Wednesday, the fifth, I realized that the town was closed that day. We have a select board meeting on the fourth.
What about August 12th, Wednesday?
August twelfth.
Or Tuesday, the 11th. Because that would be off a meeting one.
What are you doing?
And that way staff who's off that day wouldn't have to come in.
Sorry.
If we did Tuesday, the 11th, if we did the 12th, there will be folks who are off and they have to come in on their day off.
Right.
In order to do that meeting. So what if we did the 11th, just because it's an off Tuesday from the board meeting?
Right, I'm not available that day, but
Okay,
I have a long-standing commitment.
and we don't want to go too close to the end of August because a lot of our.
People will be
residents
leaving.
there-
They-
well,
they-
they
What about
really
the
start in
12th?
August.
Are you available the 12th on Wednesday?
I'm available the 12th. What about a Monday? Oh, the fire department has.
Yeah.
trainings.
You are or not?
So let's do the August 12th on a Wednesday
12th. So
at
that would affect
6,
you,
but that's okay.
then-
I mean, what's that gonna be, an hour or two?
Yeah, not gonna be.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't care.
I mean,
6:30,
I'd be there anyway, so.
maybe.
That's true.
But I mean, we usually have all our department heads, so they're all gonna be.
Right. At 6:30, to give people time to get out of work, because I know 6 o'clock at the center.
Is it available?
No,
Kristen?
Kristen,
August twelfth, is that available? The
Yes,
Wednesday?
I'm just gonna have to ask Avery to do the speaking, since I'm driving my daughter to college.
Oh,
That's what.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sure
all
she
right,
loves
well, let's
that.
get that date and we can do slot that piece of it out. Okay.
I'm saying, you're right.
Woo-hoo. Progress. Okay.
okay.
Committee appointments and reappointments. So, the first one we have is, Anthony Wilson, who's currently the number one alternate on the budget committee. Our process is that alternate would come on to since there's an opening on the budget committee. I do have, his application. Can we have a motion to?
I just have a question, has this come from the budget committee? If there's.
It went out to the budget committee.
I mean.
I did not hear back, but I mean, he's already an alternate on the committee. So it's not like he's a new member.
No, I don't.
Like, news. We didn't take any action on it, so we thought it was.
No, and as a courtesy, he filled out another application just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Can I have a
Okay,
motion?
I move that we approve Anthony as a full member of the budget committee.
Let's start with that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. So
Okay,
now,
so I have a question, so he's, oh, never mind, okay, it's a 3-year term.
It's a
So
3-year
he
term, so,
Served the rest of her term.
right. She didn't resign. She fulfilled her term. Yep.
and then, the budget committee gets to be thinking about alternate. And then we also have from the budget commission, the appointment, for Bruce Galouche to be reappointed to the budget committee.
Move to approve.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
I just have one request. We are looking for a select person to, come to our meetings throughout the summer while we're doing this. Trying to get the financial policy and these other parking lot lists. Of course, when it comes to budgetary, probably not have a select person in, we're doing budgetary because that, we present it to you, so probably the select board shouldn't be there at that point of it. But going through all these policies and bringing them to you guys for approval, I think it'd be very helpful if we could have somebody from the select person.
As a liaison, okay.
Let's consider that when Michael's here.
Well, yeah,
When do you generally meet? What do you?
About the fourth Tuesday of the month,
fourth Tuesday of the
that
next,
says.
all right? And then Mary, do you want to? what do we
Yep,
need
so
to
these
do?
are just annual appointments, so I need the board to just reaffirm these
Okay.
appointments, and if
Um,
there's any questions,
Okay, so.
and motion to
Let
approve.
me do it as a group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just do the whole thing all at once.
I move that we approve the annual appointments as listed.
In our packet. Okay,
Second,
any discussion on the annual appointments? Yeah,
Is there any consideration on the annual appointments since it was discussed as a weakness for assigning responsibilities fiscally to add somebody onto that appointment to give? I know she said we're small, but you know, roles and responsibilities, does that change that at all in your consideration of discussion, or we're just doing the same as we've done?
Yeah, I don't think that would change this.
No, and so Craig, so also know that these may be the initial appointments for those departments, but everybody is cross-trained and deputized. So, for example, I'm a deputy treasurer to Penny. The town manager in the past has also been a deputy treasurer. Under myself, I'm the registrar, but I have deputy registrars. So we cross-train everybody in all areas because if one person leaves, we want somebody able to be able to pick up. Okay,
Thank you.
yes.
any discussion on the appointments? All in favor?
Okay.
4 in favor, 1 absent.
Yep.
I apologize for not announcing them on the other ones. Okay, the next one is, excuse me, petition, submitted by concerned taxpayers. Mary, you want to bring us up to speed here?
Okay, well, we received the petition. We needed 191 signatures. We got 276 signatures. After reading the petition, there have been a number of questions. I took the initiative to send it off to our legal firm, and he was not available, but his associate in Bernstein Shore replied, and you can read her response to the petition itself. Because we are a referendum, she felt that municipality, and I did put the reference in there that the state statute in there, so everybody could read the state statute. It's in a yellow highlight. But it is, in the end, it is the board's decision on what they want to do, but this is the recommendation from our legal firm.
And I have a question.
Yeah.
So the soonest that this would be voted would be in November. Right?
Correct.
This
It
would
would
be
be
on
in
November.
November. Yeah.
Okay, so we do not have to rush to a decision. We can. Since we've just seen the legal opinion,
Right,
we can take some time to consider this and discuss it.
we can, if we want. Also, has the budget committee looked at the impact of this on?
That was the other thing we was gonna work on at our next meeting.
Okay.
He also was asking if some of the representatives for the petition would come to our next meeting so we can discuss it, see if there's things we can work into the financial policy that they're asking for in the petition. I think a lot of what they're asking for in the petition, we can probably work into financial policies.
Okay. And. Oh yeah, this wasn't the packet, so you had a chance to see the attorney's reading on it, so, I want to read through that a little more myself before I make a decision. We don't have everyone here tonight for discussion, and the budget committee has asked that they look at, are there ways to incorporate that together? So if that is, I would recommend that we look through that and send it to the budget committee and then bring it back once the budget committee has had a chance to look at it. Is my thought. Anyone else have a?
No, I agree with that. I think the fact that our legal counsel has some questions about it. I think we need to spend some time really looking at it very carefully and getting the advice of the budget committee as well.
Yes, Carol.
So I noted that your attorney's letter to you
Yeah.
suggested that you consider going ahead and putting it on the ballot. Because section 7 has a severability clause, so that if you have any concerns, you can fix those after the voters have had a chance to vote on it at the ballot. I have collected over 600 signatures over the last couple of years on petitions about visibility of what's happening with the budget and having a populace, having voters that are educated and not just franchising folks. And so I'm hoping that you all will take your attorney's advice, put it on the ballot, give the voters who have requested it numerous times a chance to vote on it. And then if you want to make changes to it after that, use the severability clause to do so.
Yeah, we can definitely consider that. I'm just saying for myself, I feel like I need to spend a little bit more time on it. Well, if it goes on the November ballot, Mary, what would be the deadline that we would have to decide? 60 days?
60 days.
60 days.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it would
Yeah.
behoove us to take some time.
August,
No later than our August meeting.
August meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I make suggestion, have that, you guys had your decision made before the non-residents meeting. So you can, some non-residents are also made aware if this is going to vote or not, right, for this position.
I don't know if we'd have that ready for that August meeting.
You guys could possibly have, because
Possibly, yeah.
when's the 60 days when?
We
Pardon?
have till the end of August,
The end of August.
August, yeah.
but,
Yep.
we can try, Bruce.
Okay, I guess just a
Yeah.
suggestion.
Something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so, I guess I would move that we table this. Refer it to the budget committee. And take it back up. The first meeting in August, this budget committee would be before that.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? 4 yeses, 1 absent. So we'll do our commitment at that. First one. Okay. Facility maintenance request. Mr. Corey.
Actually, before we jump into that,
Oh, yeah.
would we? I don't want for Corey to go do a whole presentation on this when the policy is anything over 15,000 has to go out to bid. And municipal equipment generally gets at least 3 competitive bids that they then bring back and we decide between the 3.
Okay.
And this was built out quoted through Sourcewell, which is a nationwide quoting system that has feelers all over. We used it for the quotes that we got for the skid steers and stuff like that. Same exact company. This company is out of Florida and they quoted the same thing we're looking for, and equipment came from Portland. So
Right, we actually have to do a request for proposal, we have to actually do a bid process. Submit it out to several places. Municipalities can get some of the same discounts that fleet companies do, but not have to have the 15 vehicles, and we have a perpetuity article that says anything over 15 has to go out to RFP.
Okay.
whatever you guys say.
I don't know I want to make a point, and I don't know if it's premature to the discussion, but basically the facility cemetery truck replacement reserve was established initially. It says that on a warrant article in 2016, and it was designed to basically level fund the replacement of equipment so that we did not have huge spikes in the budget. Well, what's happened in the last 3 years is there's been $170,000 appropriated for facilities trucks and equipment, and which was a spike in itself. And at least two pieces of the equipment aren't replacements, they're additional equipment. So quite clearly, the reserve says it's really for replacement of equipment, not additional equipment. I think the intent was that if the town's gonna buy additional equipment, that should be presented individually on a warrant article for consideration by the voters. So I think basically the F-550 that was purchased in 2025, I would say that was a replacement vehicle logically, and that we did not dispose of the other F-350. And now we're basically, we have literally just a one page here that says, here's an invoice for 72,000. There's no justification or explanation what it's for. It may be legitimate, it may not, but there's absolutely no detailed explanation. There's no disposition of the old equipment, so are we now gonna have essentially 3 dump trucks, and that's gonna wind up at the transfer station or something? I can't tell from any of this. So every town I've ever thought been associated with, once they buy a piece of equipment and they tell you they need a new one, the old one just never goes away, it just goes somewhere else in the town. So from looking at what's presented here, there's no disposition, there's no financial money coming back to the town from a disposition. So what I'm saying is, when the budget committee is going through financial procedures, this is an obvious opportunity to improve things.
My understanding is this is a replacement of the one, so we don't have to put money into our existing
Absolutely it is.
existing vehicle, which is how it was presented at town meeting,
And it's not a dump truck.
and it's not a.
No, it is not a dump truck.
It's a flatbed,
It's a flatbed truck.
which if we take the ladder racks off the F-550, that's also a flatbed. And it's a bigger flatbed. That's why it has the ladder racks that are removable.
This is on budget committee, but how much is in the reserve? Is the reserve
We
account that was set up?
$80,000 approved for a new truck at
So
the
no,
town
at
meeting,
town meeting.
voted by the town people.
I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning how much is in the reserve that was set up under the warrant article in 2016, you know?
I don't have them, I'm sorry.
So
In
there
front of
was about a balance in that account
Yeah,
is
there-
about $20,000, and then add the $80,000 to the amount that's in there now, so it's
because of
just about $100,000.
In the packet, it says the current facility
Yeah.
truck reserve balance is 100,676.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put that in there, didn't
So. Okay, if this needs to go out to bid, we'll need to get.
We can do that.
But maybe it would be helpful to have a written explanation so that, I know we've heard your explanation before, but we should record it and transcribe it so that we have it,
This is replacing the F-250.
F-250, yes, yes, yes.
So, and I think that it would be helpful, I know that folks have put out notes and emails and that, but if we have a current list of what we have for all of our equipment, so then we're keeping a running tally of this 2016 is being
The town
replaced by
has
this.
current running equipment.
Right, but for the board to have one and to have one, we maybe put it on the website, because I know that there are some folks that have requested that information and wondering how they could get it. So, and I know you did one for us a couple of years ago. So if we just keep that updated so that everybody knows, and we're not like, oh, is it a 250 or a 350 that we're replacing?
And Bruce,
So one of my concerns is a cash flow thing, like, this is a question for Penny and Mary. Is this something that's gonna be able to, we're gonna be able to afford until making taxes? Or not? I guess that's a question for Penny or Mary.
Mary. That's usually what we do right after the vote, right? As soon as the budget's approved, we transfer the funds for the.
Yes.
So it's questionable. So we have changed our fiscal years. And our tax date is now later in the year. We won't be getting tax dollars in as quickly. I know what we have currently in the town checking account. And
Well, we've got to put it out for bid, so. why
you
don't-
got to put it out for
let's
bid. That will
reject it,
provide some time.
Give you
Okay.
time to look and make sure that it's
Okay.
affordable at this point.
Yeah, because we used to stagger that, and it's one of those things like, we don't have a written policy, but we used to stagger the big purchases. Because town meeting was in March,
Till tax dollars
we weren't
came in.
getting tax dollars until the end of the year, so we weren't puking out $100,000. The
Right.
first meeting after town meeting, we were like, hang tight. Because we gotta wait till tax dollars come in, and then we can.
And we do have a
put money
lot
in.
of monthly expenses that are coming down the line, and knowing that we are waiting for those tax dollars a whole month later.
Well, why don't
Hold
we
on.
check it and we'll come back and.
Yeah.
Putting you on the spot, at this
Just we
point.
need to
Well,
make a motion for an RFP number, so we can get this moving.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we do that, I have a question for Corey. So the quote that you have from this Ozark government fleet. Oh, it says 180 days. I don't know, how long is the price good for on this, do you know?
I don't know how long that took for, he said all he needed from us was another, a PO, so I'm assuming it's good to go, 180 days, 180 days, whatever it is.
Where is
So
it?
it's
What is-
180
What is
days.
what is ETA mean as to which on those rivals?
So that's saying when we give them a purchase order, within 6 months, they materialize the truck.
So we can say, wait 6 months to pay?
Or we get a truck that's already out there, we do one that's
We
already
can
in
wait
the
6 months.
pipeline, But that's why we, so I think at our
So we have
next
time-
meeting,
so we
we
have-
should bring forward an actual proposal that we're gonna put out to bid.
Yep.
And then approve that at the next meeting or tweak it as needed. And then that has to go out for bid. And then they'll do a competitive bid process, and then we'll decide amongst the ones that come back.
So. You wanna make your motion?
Motion to RFP.
For RFP.
Okay. Okay.
Is there a second for Doug's motion and put on our?
I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? 4 in favor, 1 absent. So we'll have that ready for the next meeting, so we can approve it and get it going.
Okay, good, and then get it going.
Okay. All right, next one, shared use of Belgrade Oakland 12 passenger van. Recreation Department. So,
Yep. I think Kristen's right
I
down
think
there.
we have in writing what you were telling us about the other time, but
And
just for the record, if you could just quick update.
Yeah, sure. So you have the. What we discussed last time, and then you have the memorandum of understanding from the town of Oakland. It is a shared 12 passenger van. Essentially, in order for that to happen for Belgrade. To not, or to be able to have me drive it as the only designated driver, then in order for MMA to approve the insurance, I need to be a non-paid employee by the town of Oakland. So I would essentially be being hired as a van driver only as a volunteer, but I'm an actual employee through Belgrade. It's the only way to avoid, we can't duly insure through MMA in the same vehicle. So that was the legality that we needed to check. Essentially, our only responsibility for this would be half of the insurance for me as a driver, which is $172 for 6 months. So our half was $86. Recreation already has a transportation line of $7,500. So if I were to go out and try to schedule 8 van trips, it is $224 to rent the exact same van for enterprise for 1 day, and then we're responsible for filling the tank. It was recommended last night by Melanie to look into the camera system. Central Maine Motors has agreed to put the camera system on there. One that they recommended, it's $683. They're going to do it at no cost to us. and it's one that can be removed and put into the new passenger van. So as we discussed, this is it's a short term to try it and see how it works. So Oakland's already using the van. Our agreement would end the last week of October, so we could take our seniors on potentially a fall foliage trip. We would revisit with Central Maine if they want to re-enter the agreement for next year, and then we would get a brand new van the week of May 16th next year. We would need to sign the MOU yearly. And I would have to do the safe driving. It's a 2-hour course that the town of Oakland requires. It is online. But I would have to do that yearly as well. We decided that this time I would be the only driver. They wanted to be somebody over the age of 25. That was an MMA recommendation. My assistant director is not 25 yet, but she will be soon. So if the agreement works well and she is still with us next year, then potentially we could book in her as a second driver, and then it just add the additional $86 or whatever the rate change is at that time. So you know, I think it is an amazing opportunity for Belgrade Parks and Rec. It extends our services. We re-established Camp Bloom this year, which we have exactly 12 campers now per group. It would allow us to attend, for example, to Long Beach downtown with Selectboard Alliance, or do some smaller hikes with them without having to get a bus, essentially. And it extends some of those opportunities for seniors who might want to get to a program to have transportation if time permits. I haven't signed anything yet because I've been waiting for you. I do have my employment paperwork ready. I do have the MOU ready. If you agree to it, then we essentially can have access to the van beginning Monday. Aaron at Oakland only has 9 trips booked total through the month of October. So he's like, whatever you need it for. And the only thing I wanted was in the MOU, it says that we're to do a checklist. I wanted something a little more definitive. So every time I pick the van up or he drops the van off, him and I have an agreement where we both sign it, an actual checklist. Which is something that I just found universally from Department of Parks and Recreation, essentially. So we can walk through and say mirrors are in good condition, and we both sign it and agree. So not one party is liable.
And maybe it'll take a video, walk around with a video.
Yeah, and I have talked to Kelly. They've already registered it. It's already ready to go. It's already insured, and we'll do the reimbursement on the insurance. And we've Penny's already checked with MMA to just as a backup to make sure that we are covered, and she was assured that we were fine. So
And so
Right.
who signs the memorandum of understanding? So that it just says, it doesn't specify whether it's.
it says town manager.
Town
So just authorize me to sign as interim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding between the town of Belgrade and the town of Oakland for the 12 passenger van use.
And authorize Mary.
For the town manager to sign on the town's behalf.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Nice opportunity.
4 yeses?
Yeah,
One
it
absent.
is.
Okay.
Good job, Lee.
And I think we do probably need to put on the record, I haven't been through that, we moved to allow Kristen McDowell to be an unpaid volunteer for the town of Oakland, for this purposes.
And you do have that copy of the MOU.
Yeah.
Well.
So I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? So now you're legal, Kristen.
Great.
Down
Huh?
to Belgrade, send a thank you note to Central Maine.
Yes, that would be
Yes, and I.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it the other day.
Okay.
You having the kids sign it?
Yes, definitely.
Because I always love that when they come in, they get all the little kids signatures.
Yes.
Okay, next on is bids for sand salt mix.
So Jason is not here this evening. He did submit this in time. And you can see his he wanted to change his bid. His bid ended on June 26th. For the past year was $15.95. He has increased that to $17.75 per yard.
How many yards do we use? Any idea?
Well, it says 5,000,
Oh.
6,500, yeah.
Is this the only bid we got?
It's the only bid we got. It was put on MMA and it was put on the Town of Belgrade website. So
Probably should have put it on Facebook and stuff too, or, cause not everybody, I'm not gonna go look on the town's website. Honestly, unless I'm like.
I thought maybe
"Hey, there's a
MMA
policy
would
there I need to look
provide
at."
more. Yeah,
Okay,
next time.
okay. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept the proposal from Jason Stevens for the same. This is just for some.
Sand and salt mix.
Sand and salt.
Yeah.
Sending stuff.
Doug seconding. Any discussion?
Any discussion I got, so we have the idea if we budgeted for that?
Yeah, cause
Don't have the budget
89,000
with
is a
me.
pretty good chunk,
Yeah.
Can bring 'em.
and that's
So
what
last, you
$2.
said it was 15 something.
It was 15.95,
Assuming we budget-
but there was a balance left in our Public Works Department of $46,000. So we should be able to absorb,
Into the roads.
right, it goes into the reserve account,
$9,000, it's only $9,000 more.
so, okay.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? 4 yeses and 1 absent, okay,
You should bring that, that's too.
that takes us down to
We'll bring that. next.
other business. Mary,
Other business,
funding request. The first
Okay.
thing I would like-
so under other business, we have a couple of different things. So we received an invoice from one of our, we don't call them social service agencies anymore. What do we call them?
NGOs, nonprofits.
Nonprofits. So historically, we do not pay those requests until we start receiving tax dollars. So I did not respond to them. I wanted the board to weigh in on that decision.
This was for 7 Lanes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Like, if we pay some,
I know I
money,
see
we'll
that.
be paying.
Then, and that would be $50,000 just for the water.
For the water quality.
That's right. That doesn't include,
Yeah.
it doesn't include the other agencies. So anyway, how does the board feel about that decision to wait until after we start receiving tax dollars?
If we're running tight on money, I think we would need to.
Well, it's a whole month later. We
No, I
have,
mean, if we're
yeah.
running tight on getting to that, then I would say we hold up if we feel we have sufficient cash flow, that's a different story. But.
I mean, we could, the only invoice we've received is from 7LA.
Right
Doesn't mean
now.
That
Right.
we have to pay all the others,
Mhm.
but, I mean.
But if we pay out 7 Lakes and then we don't pay out one of the other ones and
Yeah.
the word gets out, so
Right,
it's in a sense setting a policy.
right. Melanie?
Can I feel like how we used to do it is the ones that were approved on the secondary warrant, that those weren't paid until the end of the year, because we're not obligated. to pay
After
them
we
directly
received
at
our
the town meeting.
taxes, that's how we always
We
get
used to
it.
pay everybody before the start of the next fiscal year, and just pay them all in one.
And the reserve account funds got transferred in at that time also.
Right.
Near the end of the year.
I would think once you
So-
get dollars, because those lake associations are working. If we-
That's 50,000 right there by itself.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
if we wait to pay at the end of the year, then. Have their budget that they're counting on the money before the end of the year.
Yeah, they
I
are.
would say
Yeah.
once we get tax dollars, it
Yeah.
should be.
I-
In October,
Yeah.
we should start getting, October 2nd, the tax bills are due.
Yeah.
I mean, we can start releasing them by the end of September. Because more often than not, the mortgage companies are gonna pay a little bit early to get their money
Right.
in.
Just one question, do we have any idea when we paid them last? You should have the date, should be.
We paid them
Thing.
early.
When,
We did pay them early,
Oh, yeah.
basically upon request.
So, right, being a business person, so I understand what the town's comes from, because that's why I brought it up on the truck, but being a business person. They get that money last year, So they planned on that in their budget and with their contractors, to pay this out. Now, you're gonna short them by 50, if tax days approved, you're gonna show them the $50,000. I guess the question for them would be, is if they don't get that until September, October, is that gonna give them an issue with paying their contractors that's doing the work?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's reasonable to ask them to call Mary Kerwood and say,
Okay,
you know, the due date is 7/24. Could we wait until, would it be a serious inconvenience for you if we waited and
Okay.
paid you, you know, the 1st of October?
Yes, I think if we
Okay.
went back and looked at the year prior, last year was the first year that we paid early. So somebody anticipating something that's generally a gift from the town that shouldn't be directly affecting their budget, what they do, this should be in addition to, not. But, and I do think, I mean, last year was the first time we paid early. So we always just cut the checks at the same time to everybody.
Well, we didn't, because I know
When did we pay last
we
year?
waited until you heard from the associations.
to
So
request the funds.
to
Yeah.
request the funds,
Yeah.
but they all weren't paid at the same time.
Yeah.
They were paid at different times based on when they were
So-
requested.
So is this asking for 1 month payment, or is it gonna be the same thing as the lake association start asking for money, or how's that? Is it all 1 month payment only, or?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lump payment, but it's only 12,600. They just want their portion.
We
So
were-
as soon as we pay out,
Each lake
right.
association.
right?
But if you pay 7 LA, then Frank Vasilonsky and BLA and the rest are gonna say, oh, well, I want my money too, so.
Well, that's it.
Or what if
So-
we send a letter to everyone that says
Our fiscal year.
our fiscal
has
year has
changed.
changed,
Yeah.
so we would like to, our intention is to pay everybody in the month of September. if
And
this
maybe
is a
put it in as
significant-
part of our policy,
Right.
our,
Part of our financial.
part of the financial
Yeah, and
policy.
then just say, I mean, if that 12/6 is gonna break you, then,
You're in
you know, if it's right, if you
Yeah,
need,
we're
if you need a
talking-
special accommodation, let us know.
Yeah.
And maybe we just send something out that alerts everybody that police funding was approved for that.
Good idea.
Okay.
Um,
So second part of this, other business is that we have found ourselves in, the 6-month budget. There were a couple of warrant articles that were overdrawn. And our planning board reserve account is in the negative by 12,246.25. I have reached out to both MMA and I reached out to Bernstein Shore, and they both concur that we need to hold a special town meeting. The recommendation is to request funding from the undesignated account. And I mean, there's no way around it. We're at a shortfall. And when we put the 12,246.25 back into the planning board reserve account, that'll bring us back up to 0. We haven't funded that account since 2024. So anyway, things happen. We need to move forward in a positive manner. I've tentatively set up with Kristen Tuesday, July 28th, 6:30 p.m., a special town meeting. I've already done a warrant up to be signed. And the amount, I've actually drafted up an article, sent it off to Phil. Phil approved it, made a couple of minor changes. So the amount that we will be looking to take from the undesignated fund to bring us up to where we should be is $35,209.25.
35,000 for people.
209.25. And those will cover the overdrafts from the 6-month budget, but we have to do this before we commit the taxes for this past town meeting. It has to be done. We can't commit taxes until we're reconciled, and this will reconcile us.
so question for you,
Mm.
that's gonna bring our planning board
to
back
zero.
to zero, does that mean that for the next year, we'll have no legal
No,
fund?
so we actually approved $25,000 in this upcoming
For this year.
warrant, right, but we can't
We can't,
use that,
we
right?
can't use that money to pay a prior balance.
Right, and even if we did apply that amount of money, we're still gonna be short. We would
Right.
not make it through the whole year,
Right.
so.
Now, my question was, do we need to ask for more for that reason? That's the reason I asked.
I'm just asking.
So the recommendation in the future is to consider a contingency fund. So the board has always had a contingency fund. What do you got? $7,500. We've used that for purposes of this nature in the past.
Yeah.
But it may be something that you want to consider for the future, a contingency fund of up to a certain amount of money for anything of this nature that
Good.
may happen. And things happen, things got missed and
Okay.
excuse
Any
me.
discussion on the board?
And so you're proposing the time of the town meeting on?
6:30 in the evening. That gives people enough time to get home from work and get there. It's 2 articles. One, we have to elect the moderator. And the second article is to authorize, I'll read the article to you, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Select Persons to transfer and appropriate from the undesignated fund balance an amount up to $35,209.25 to cover budget overdrafts from the 6-month budget of January 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026. The current balance of the undesignated fund is $2,995,320. Anyway, okay. So that's the warrant article that we'll be approving. Should be short, should be quick. Will there be questions? Maybe.
Probably, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Bruce?
So I'd like to see 2 different articles. I'd like to see the attorney fees separated out as an article and the other, so it's clear to the taxpayers that we have spent this amount of money for attorney fees. Or we planning board. I think we need to start being more. That, this is why I've been active going out to bid for attorney fees, we are spending way too much in this town for attorneys, way too much. And we gotta get the control back in and not having all these suits. I don't know how we can do it, but it's gonna start getting more and more expensive. The more suits we have, and it's gonna cost us more tax dollars to cover it. But I think it should be a separate article so the taxpayers know that we're paying, yes, we gotta pay it, but this is for attorneys.
Larry?
So I'm moving forward with this now, and that's going to be my recommendation to break this down now. Further delays putting this out. I have a posting timeline. I have deadlines that I have to meet legally. And that explanation can be provided at the town meeting. And I understand what you're saying, Bruce, and it is important that people need to start looking at that. We did not budget for this since 2024. So unfortunately, there was no budget in 2025. At the end of 2025, it was just over $3,000 in there. Nobody took a look at it. In this 6-month budget, there was no money put into that reserve account. Well, hello, $3,000 isn't going to take you from January 1st.
We had a discussion about this. It was asked in our budget meeting about this back in 2024, back in 2025, 6-month budget, and I asked both times, because I'm big on attorney fees, as everybody knows. I asked both times, do we have enough money in that account to cover the expenses? And I was told yes. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
So it was brought up, so I don't want any blame being put to the budget committee that we missed anything, this and that. It was asked, and we were told it was all set.
Yeah, and I
We're not
understand.
looking to put blame.
No, we're not looking to
put.
put blame, but I really would, I know what you're saying. But it's very important now. This has gone out to the lawyer. He's approved that warrant article. And I think that we kind of just need to move forward with what we have. I mean, to take more time to put this out again with an additional warrant article for just the planning board reserve account. And then to come back to have the board to have to meet an extra meeting. I have a time frame for my posting, for my legals, for getting prepared for that special town meeting. It's coming up very quick. It's July 28th.
Can I just ask, are we sure we didn't miss anything else? Cause I don't, it goes like, when we
Yeah.
built this building, we had to have a special town meeting and then they're
And
like.
then we had to have another one.
And then we had another town meeting.
Yeah.
And.
And crap happens. We've looked at the details. These are our overages. We've looked at our expense report. I've got everything detailed and outlined as to where we're at, what budgets are left, what budgets are overdrawn. I sent that out to you. Everybody should have gotten that as well. And so you can clearly see that was the end of our 6-month budget.
Right.
I tried to highlight, I think I missed a couple of spots, but
I appreciate that.
most department heads. And where we ended up, and actually we ended up with $148,000 left, which actually, if you divide that between all the departments and all of the different areas, that's not that bad.
Not
People
that
came
bad,
pretty,
right.
people came pretty close to their budgets and expending their budgets. So,
So this report that says expense detail.
it's his expense detail for the
that's
6 months.
6 months.
That's the 6
That's the
months.
6 month.
Yeah, and that's where we're at.
Send that out to the budget committee too.
I did send it to
Did you
you.
send it?
Yeah, I sent it to you. It was part of the, yeah.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
Yeah, it came in the last email that I sent out before the end of the day. Okay.
Craig, you had a question, or did it get in?
It was sort of on Bruce's, tying into it. I understand the time frame we need to put the warrant out, but to go back to one of your goals was to highlight information in each of the ballot questions to have as much information in there.
Mhm.
So if we put a handout saying we need this amount for lawyer, we overspent planning budget here, we overspent here. Just itemizing them out, what reduces the angst that everybody inputs the moderator in, what's this amount and why is it decided, that's all.
And we will have that available,
Kristen?
Craig.
I just want clarification, so for the night of that town meeting, are we doing a Zoom, and is it gonna be interactive, because that
No.
depends on what we have.
No
So,
interaction.
Doing it?
No.
or With no interaction?
We can-
No interaction. No, we didn't do town meeting with
Exactly.
interaction.
She needs
I
that.
want
Are you
it-
zooming in?
You want it zoomed recorded, so you can have it.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be great.
But we're not.
And not
allowing
interactive.
people to interact.
We can't
Right.
entertain questions
Correct.
From the general public.
from the public.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question?
Okay, so what sort of motion do you need?
What's yours?
I need a motion to approve this warrant because I already have it ready for signatures. So I don't know who wants to do that.
I move that we approve the warrant for the special town meeting on Tuesday, July 28th, 2026.
Second that.
Second, any more discussions? All in favor? 4 yeses, 1 absent. Okay.
Okay, and
Any other things?
no, but I did want to, under town manager updates, we'll wait and get there.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right, so that takes us to warrants. So, first one is, B and B warrant number 69 in the amount of $4,774.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? 4 yeses,
I'm sorry.
1 absent.
yeah, what are you doing? They're in order.
Payroll warrant number 70, $30,683.48.
Move that motion.
Second, anyone? Okay. All in favor?
We had a quick question.
Oh,
So 6/24, we paid the former town manager $1,750. Is that the last payment or do we have
be one more. Should
One
be
more.
and then we're done?
Right. Okay, all in favor of payroll warrant number 70? 4 yeses, 1 absent.
Do they sign?
Payroll warrant 71.
When we're all done.
In the amount of $34,347.80.
Second?
Oh, move to approve.
Melanie seconded. All in favor?
I was like, did I hear
She was
a
doing-
motion?
She used to do the motion and she was doing it, so I
Okay,
just
4
assumed she
yeses,
had.
one absent. Payroll warrant number 72, 30, in the amount of $30,533.92.
Move to approve. That's just.
Second?
All in favor? 4 yeses, 1 absent. B and B warrant number 73 in the amount of $40,529.93.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'm just making sure.
Doug seconded.
They're not in order.
Alright, so this one is 7-1, that's the end of that.
No, but the.
All in
Yes,
favor?
That's right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
They're
One
gonna be
absent.
fine.
They're in ascending order.
I said, so the 7-1 paying, so that is the last payment to Lauren.
No, there's one more payment.
Well, this is dated 7-1, do we have to pay something beyond 7-2?
You
Because my
said we got one
understanding
more
was that
payment to
you-
Lorna.
Yeah.
One more payment.
Yeah,
So after 7-2, because my understanding was that she was only an extended employee through 7-2.
her vacation time extended beyond the 7-2, but I don't know that she couldn't, if she applies for PFML, she's qualified. Because of the way the termination agreement was reads. Huh?
So we don't need extra.
No, I know,
But she
that
could,
is-
so
but she has-
FYI.
She has the priority.
Okay. AP warrant number 74 in the amount of $85,313.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? I didn't say anything on mine, though. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, 1 absent. AP warrant number 75, in the amount of $30,046.73.
So move. I'll make that motion.
They already have that.
So. we
So
have a
there were
second?
some that I had to make photocopies of, no, that, you should have that one.
I think we do have that one.
Yeah, you should have that one in your book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have 75.
I don't have 70.
Mine ends with. 70.
Yeah, mine 70.
You don't have 75, you want 75?
Oh,
It's a one pager.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
You need copies?
I got it from 70.
No.
1.
no, so
4 is here.
75 is there.
Oh, 70.
75 is what you're looking at. Oh, wait a sec. Look,
I was looking at 74.
Here.
What did you give us here?
looks like I put them all in mine.
All right, that's down 3.
I was running around doing crazy things. There you go.
Okay. So, all in favor? 4 yeses,
Sorry.
1 absent. Okay, and now,
Somebody move to approve it.
yeah, okay, Ellen did.
Okay.
Okay. AP warrant number 1. the
Which
first
is-
Warrant of our new
On your desk.
budget year.
Yeah.
That is on our desks. In the amount of $62,517.27.
Move for approval.
Second. Any discussion? I'm looking for-
Yeah, and this under main municipal, we've got to replace a rejected POS payment.
Yeah,
The point of service, so what is that?
it was
Positive
rejected
pay.
in positive pay.
Oh, positive pay, I'm thinking. It
Yeah.
was like a PM.
Yeah.
Okay. Purchase order was bounced, okay.
Okay. All in favor of warrant article number 1? 4 yeses. 1 opposed.
Was there a
April
motion
warrant
on that?
number 2 in the amount of $480.50.
Anybody?
We'll make that motion.
Second. Doug seconded, all in favor? 4 yeses, 1,
I don't have
Absent.
those.
and then.
No, they're on your desk.
Oh. Payroll warrant number 3 in the amount of $31,605.48.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? 4 yeses, 1 absent. That takes us through the warrant. I think, yeah. Okay,
Just threw those on.
put that right next to you, Mary.
Don't tell me what you're doing. She's yanking my chain over here. Okay, so town manager updates. I don't have a lot. We just went over the special town meeting. The dock has been installed at Long Pond Beach. We've had a lot of positive comments, and I know that Kristen's had a lot of comments. You want to talk about it?
Most of it's good, as you know, it's public service, so it's making most people happy. To clarify that when we're talking about ADA compliance and wheelchair accessible, they're 2 separate things. So as we discussed, with the new staircase system and the railings, we added
where's my
our
warrant?
loose rails. Those are
My
all
warrant
ADA
was signed.
the feedback has been great. I've been down there 4 times, and there are people who have very clearly stated that they.
No, the other side.
So I think it's a change in that's the right direction. We have reached out, it's that snowflake. We have reached out to Mamie Johnson about to give us our phase 2, which was our next idea. Is it possible with the local plan to make that 100% wheelchair accessible? So we will have that evaluation soon enough. In the interim, we have offered the Center to All Seasons for swimming with the 2 stairs that are there. Again, that is considered ADA compliant because of the shoreline, and we have an ADA path. It is not wheelchair still. So that would be our next goal. We are working towards it, but the stairs were a huge success. And I do think people in the are big reasons. Often talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, they look great.
Yeah, they did look great. I didn't go down and see them, but they did. So we've had a lot of comments online through the Facebook and in the office, and people are very, very thankful, actually. They were very unsafe. So HR main consulting, you authorized an amount up to $4,000. After this warrant here tonight, we're into it for $3,600.
For what?
3,600. So the billing has been on an average $600. So we will be exceeding with this next meeting with her, the $4,000 that the board authorized.
Right, and that was for the 6 months. It was for.
We didn't budget for that, so that got absorbed under contracted services. And right now it's not, we didn't build that in the budget for this upcoming year either. We're going to absorb it. What I need you to know is that you only authorized $4,000. We're going to exceed it with our next meeting with her.
Did we tell her that 4,000 was the cap?
No, she sent us an hourly rate and it was approved of
We improved it.
prior to the,
Based on where we thought we were in the process, we thought that.
yeah.
How close are we to being finished?
Gosh, I hope we're gonna be.
I think we're close.
So,
Said that before, don't lie. I said.
Well, and I think maybe that she needs to be given a time. Because it's not just an open checkbook.
I think we're shutting her down a little bit more. We need to shut her down
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of very complicated.
Yeah, but last
We're dealing
time,
with the benefits, which are the most
Yeah,
complicated things to
right,
deal with.
the PFML, all of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
very regulated and we have to comply with laws, federal and state,
Yeah,
because one's federal, one's state.
Well, maybe we
So-
give her a guideline, like, we're gonna finish this section.
You know-
And then we're all done, because we approved $4,000. And we know how much the short time that she did the other project for the town, that was $7,500 lickety split.
It's just that if we miss something major, then we could be,
We could actually go back though. I mean, we do not have to, if there is something missed, we could go back and revisit it and fix it and amend it and amend the policies. But I don't know. I want you to know.
When is the next day that we're meeting?
21st.
Just, I mean, can you tell her you have a $400 budget, we only have 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
It's $150 an
We have
hour.
2 hours both with her. So maybe we should contact her beforehand. We have enough money for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe we should contact her and say, we need to finish what we have.
But she's not gonna be able to do 2 hours with us and then 2 hours to redo the manual. So I think, I think your best bet is to ask for another 4.
Gosh,
Another
I don't-
4,000?
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
we need
do.
to spend 8,000.
No,
on
no.
Employee guidelines, that's cray cray.
I think that's
Yeah.
I
crazy.
think, have you
We
seen
we
this?
don't have that budget though. We don't have it in the
Have you seen
budget.
this manual?
I
And it
know.
keeps fluctuating, Mary. I want a new manual. I want a new manual.
Well,
Every time I turn around.
we're not
I'm
in
going
compliance with our manual and it's causing us some problems in some areas, so.
Yeah, it's
You could do the manual, but it's gonna change all the time.
It's gonna change. It's an evolving document. It is.
Applicable law, you can go reference back to it, so you're not continually updating the manual because you're spending a lot.
It's the fact that it's changing all the time, though, you know what I mean? And it's not, we have a manual, people have signed this manual, and then I can't say, you have to live by this manual. I can't say it.
Right.
Right, but-
Well, I
You can
do.
say in the policy, it's per the applicable law at the time, and then
But you
research
don't.
what the law is, and then present it to them, that's what the law
Yeah.
states now.
Yeah,
Cause we had to do it where I was working, cause it was changing all the time, and
yeah.
Yeah.
we had to put it in the bargain unit all the time to update it, we just said per applicable, research the applicable, present it to them, this is what the law states.
Well, we were I was thinking about doing like an annual thing where we sat down and we just, we went over the benefits, we went over the manual, we went over changes. That could be inserted into a binder for the employees because of those changes. It's not just about, the laws, it's about the benefits that we offer.
Yeah. And that's where we are right now. Is the
Yeah.
benefits.
So what I'll do is I'll reach out to her. I'll tell her, this is where we're at. We have this much time. How much more time does she feel it's going to take to complete this document? Just to get us compliant right now with state
And
law.
are we going to her with other questions outside of the?
Well, the thing is, once you start reaching out, ching, ching,
Right.
ching.
I know, that's my question. Are we talking to her outside?
I was going to send her an email. I will not stay on the phone with her because the time, ching, ching, ching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we
Yeah.
gonna get charged for the email?
Yes, yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Bruce?
It will be very
So
quick.
maybe we send her a written letter. So we're not charged for the email.
Yeah.
So I guess if it's gonna cost more money, I requested this the last time before we spent the $4,000, approved before you guys approved $4,000. The rest of us in this town that do work is have to give a written estimate, abide by that estimate. Let's get a quote, if it's gonna cost more money, and see how much it's cost, and she's held to that. She either gets it done in that amount, or she don't get it done in that amount.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's also on us because we
Yeah.
work with her, we do Zoom calls with her, we go over, if we have more questions, then that has more of her time.
We had the time, we should have budgeted for it, and it should have been in the 26-27 budget, so it was budgeted. Instead of trying to pull money a little bit from this line, a little bit from this line, a little bit from this line. That's one thing. The other thing is, and I've been, because I'm a big employee advocate, and I've been saying, employees are starting to get a little anxious. Because they know this is happening, but they're not involved in any of it. I realize you just talked about benefits for them, but they ain't been involved in any of it. So how is that right that there's 3 people that's making all this decision for every employee in this town, when they haven't had any input. You guys should have had at least a workshop, even if it was just with the three of you, a workshop with all the employees saying, okay, this is what
We're not making those kinds of.
No, we're
decisions.
not.
Making-
We're not taking away
making
benefits.
decisions
We're
and-
not taking away anything.
Yeah,
Any,
we're not-
any.
Yeah.
We have to bring it up to compliance to meet state and federal laws and, you know, the paid family medical leave and FMLA and all of that doesn't even exist. We have things that have been in there since I started in 1999, you know, and they're way out of date. We have things in there that it's hard to, oh, how do I say nicely? Compliance, bringing people to compliance on certain things. So it's all over the place. Our employee policies have been piecework together over the past.
we haven't.
No, but what we do have in writing, according to legal, we do have to abide by, and what is in there, we are required to make employees abide by.
Until we change it.
Until we change it, and there were some things in there, right? Yeah,
So,
I mean, I guess, my biggest thing, we're spending all our money. on this
yeah,
To get this done. So I hope that from here on out, Brandon, I realize boards change positions all the time. That the board reads the employee manual and realizes what these rules say before they make decisions on employees. Because we just made a big mistake on an employee. And it reads right in the handbook, X amount of hours for X amount of benefits. And we went way over that, and we paid out way over that, and I think that needs to be, in the future, that needs to be more.
exempt employee and what they're entitled to.
Okay, well, the immediate problem is.
The immediate problem is we got $400 left. Betsy.
That's for how much time?
How much more time does she feel it's going to take to
Yeah.
complete?
And
well,
then
we're
we'll have,
running out of money, so
Yeah,
not,
and
this
then
isn't up to check.
we'll have another meeting. When's our next? Oh,
The 21st is what
Oh,
Penny
the
said.
day after
right.
we-
Right.
That's the morning that we meet with her.
All right, I'll send her off an email on
Yeah,
Thursday.
yeah. And why don't you let the board know, which just copy everybody on the.
Yeah.
board.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing that I have is that executive sessions. So in your books, I did put this reference because we had a little discussion with our lawyer at one point in time.
Yeah.
And we talked about executive sessions and putting that placeholder in there for personnel. So at the end of the discussion, it was agreed upon. Sometimes you need a placeholder because things do come up.
Right.
Right.
And so, like you will see on this agenda, I left it blank.
Right. exactly.
That leaves an open opportunity for
Right.
people, but I want you to understand what the executive sessions are for and
Right.
what they're very limited to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I am going to ask for an executive session tonight. Maine State Statute 14056A. Okay.
Okay.
So I do want you to know that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
so I think this is a good reference. I
Yeah.
always kept
That's
it
very
in my
good.
book when, you know, I took care of the
Yep.
board before years
Yep.
ago.
Yep.
And it's just a good reference.
Yep.
So, and are you okay with keeping a placeholder?
Yes, I'm fine with
Okay.
being a placeholder, and I'm also fine with just having it say executive session, since, as you say, things come up. And I mean, you indicated earlier that it makes the staff nervous if it always says personnel, because then. they'll
Exactly.
think that we're gonna be talking about,
Exactly.
staff problems, whether they exist or not. So
Right.
I'm fine with just having it say executive session, and then when we go into executive session, we have to state what the purpose
Right,
is.
and that was the recommendation from
That's
legal,
probably-
and initially I did not agree with it, and then I gave it some thought, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, you know what, it's good to have that placeholder, just like we have the placeholder, other business. We
Yeah.
don't always like to use it for significant items, but you know, things do come up. It's So it's good to have a placeholder.
Mhm.
And I like having a little cheat sheet because we need to be sure that we're stating the right
Right.
statute when we're going to.
The right
executive session.
statute, and then it gives
Because we're
explanations. So
So-
those are in the front of your books.
If you find one in school, I can't find it in my typewriter.
It's a control.
It's in your on the computer.
Yeah.
Go into insert and you can actually add it in. The
Oh.
little, it's like an ampersand almost, but yeah, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know how to do it, so I didn't put it in.
Well,
but I did.
come on up and I will show you.
Okay, well, I'll go to my tech Google and show me. Okay,
Okay.
what else?
That's all that's all that I have for this evening, other than the executive session.
Okay. All right, so let's take a 5-minute break and.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Do we adjourn? Do you have to do a motion to adjourn? I don't know.
We're not adjourned.
And so
Regular session?
I am not leaving this computer on after the last couple of
Right.
issues, so we are going to shut the computer off. Everybody's okay with that?
So we do need to make a motion then to exit the select board, regular scheduled select board meeting for a 2-minute break.
No.
Okay.
And then went to executive
Prior to
session.
going into executive session.
Okay.
All right.
Chairs, like.
So I make a motion that we exit the regular select board meeting.
Bless you.
Oh, you have it, you know,
Oh, she did?
Oh, she does?
Do you need tissue?
Oh, I didn't.
yeah.
Pads?
Sorry, I was just trying to ask that you guys specify why you're going into executive session, but Melanie started down that path, so I pulled my hand down. So I was.
So I did state the statute for that, and the purpose, and that is Maine State Statute 14056A.
And what is
Personnel.
what is?
It's the personnel one, Jillian.
That's fine. I just don't have them memorized, so thank you.
That's okay. You know, I can send you off one of these too, so if it's helpful.
Okay.
Where's it?
Do you need
So
to get me
you
signed
can-
or anything?
Close
I am
that.
gonna get those signed, but